Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Harold Campos and today I will be speaking about our new HL7 connector that is currently in public preview. Okay, so let's start with HL7. HL7 is a set of, or Health Level 7 is a set of international standards for the exchange, integration, sharing, and retrieval of electronic health information. It's widely adopted in the US and Europe and increasingly in Asia and Australia, especially post-COVID, as digital health integration becomes more critical. HL7 standards are essential for interoperability between clinical, pharmacy, and radiology applications, and they operate the OSI models application layer 7. There are there are many HL7 versions. Currently, we are aiming this feature to be available for Beanstalk migration customers because we in Beanstalk Server we provide the Beanstalk accelerator for healthcare for HL7 and we have in Beanstalk Server support for V2.x, which is the most widely used with over 90% adoption, and it uses flat file processing. There is also the v2.xml, also known as v3, that uses XML processing, but it's not as famous as 2.x. And the Fire version, that is the newest standard with less than 10% of adoption, roughly. These are generic numbers. It supports JSON, XML formats, and RESTful APIs. Now, what are we providing for HL7 support is a connector, an HL7 connector that provides an encode and decode actions. You will be using the HL7 decode to convert flat files to XML and use the HL7 encode to convert XML back to flat file. Currently, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, Logic Apps only supports HL7 version 2.x message handling, aligning with the majority of our customers running Beanstalk Server. Both the hybrid deployment model or Logic Apps Hybrid that runs in Linux and a standard that runs on Windows environments are supported, with hybrid adoption emphasized for certain transporter scenarios. And I will briefly speak about MLP later as well. For message processing, today we support single message processing with Logic Apps. Currently, there are no batches. Batch processing is something that we are working on, so we should be having it available very soon. As far as acknowledgement handling, we support parsing for HL7 versions 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6, but we will be introducing support for lower versions very soon as well. For the decode operation that you see here, we receive an input as the input a flat file HL7 message. In this case, in this image, you see that I'm reading the body from this trigger, this HTTP trigger that is receiving when an HTTP that is getting data when you call this endpoint. So it passes the message to the code, and the way how it works is that there is a processing of a header, a determination of the property type, properties, message type, control number, delimiters, and delimiters of the information that is passed into the message. There is a schema resolution as well, and then there is parsing when the data is ready and is recognized as valid. Then we also have the encode operation, where the input is an XML message and a header content, and the output will be an encoded HL7 flat file message. So if you see here in this workflow sample, I have the decode, and once it has been decoded, the next shape is an encode. Right? This encode has available the decoded message content and the decoded header content that came from the flat file, right? From the outcome of the decode operation. So then the encode operation can will return in the end an encoded message content and header properties as well. We will see a sample of this so then it becomes clearer. One thing to mention is the capabilities that we have today. As I said, they are centered around v2.x for message handling. We have validated it up to the v2.6 version, which is the one that the schema versions that come with BizTalk server. There is processing for individual messages, acknowledge parsing, as I said, for 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6. Only message schemas need to be uploaded. This is an important difference between what we have today in Logic Apps and the accelerator in BizTalk, because you have to use a template, you have to add more schemas. There is no need for you to do that. I will go through that process as well. These segments are supported only through schema update, so you have to do that manually. I think the segments known, but it's supported. And this feature is supported in both hybrid and standard, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. Gradual additions, add generation and lower lower version support less than 2.4 to be supported soon. Batch message processing is something that we are actively working on. We recognize that batching is key for this type of for this feature. These segments out of the box support. Let us know if you want us to add it, or MSH overrides and panel specific configuration as well. Now, what are the prerequisites for this connector? You will be needing your HL7 schemas, the schema references of your HL7 schemas, and an integration account required for this for the HL7 schemas. If you see here, I have an integration account that is called my IA, and in schemas I have uploaded the schemas that I need, and also the references. Right, and once I have done that, then what I do is I go to callback URL here, and I will be using that information in the Logic app, where I will be using the HL7 connector, where I will be adding the callback URL as an environment variable that is called workflow integration account callback URL, as you see in the screen. Something to add is that just to stress how important it is for you to upload the right schemas, you need to include your message schemas, your acknowledgement schemas, and your header schemas as well. The schema sources are typically outsourced by BizTalk, so we will continue providing them, and you can use them from the accelerator. The custom schemas from third parties are not officially supported. However, they may work if compliant with HL7 standards. As far as schema references, let's make each schema may reference common schemas, data types, table values, as you see here. These ones that I have uploaded. All reference schemas must be uploaded for a successful integration. Something to call out for BizTalk customers is that the schemas, there is no need for you to have in schema location the BTH7 schema. You can remove this, or you actually should remove this. That's something that we may do in the future, but it's easier if you just do it in your schemas because you have control on them. This is exactly what you have to do. What you have to do with BizTalk server, right? With HL7 project, these common projects, you don't need to do this. So this is part of what Logic Apps does. So then the only thing that you do need is just the direct dependencies and the reference schemas of your HL7 schemas here. So you have to add them, but don't worry about this because you don't have to do this in Logic Apps. There is support for Z, the custom segments starting with Z for customer-specific data. BizTalk supports Z segments out of the box, while Logic Apps require manual schema modification to include them. Full out-of-the-box support for separate Z7 schemas is not yet available, but we will work on it as we continue receiving feedback on the feature. Some recommendations for you on managing schemas. For schema naming, do not change the HL7 schema naming conventions. This will likely cause resolution failures. For schema references, ensure that all reference schemas are uploaded and correctly named and recognizes segments. If segments are unrecognized, then there will be a wildcard schema parsing used, but this may indicate an issue. So application acknowledgements, NACs, are generated for parsing errors, so be be careful. And the limiters, segment termination must be new line feed or carrier return line feed with support for both Linux and Windows environments. Now, you may be wondering what happens with MLLP, right? So we are actively working on providing MLLP as well. We have a private preview available for customers interested in testing it. MLLP is a feature that will be available only in our hybrid deployment model because of the characteristics of MLLP. And if you are interested in testing MLLP, then let us know. Please go to this survey, fill up your information, and then we will be very happy to share to give you access to it. Now let's take a look to a quick demo. Now let me show you how this works, right? So as I said, I have this very simple workflow where you can see that I have the code, I have an encode as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you also the integration account that has the schemas. So all of these schemas that I have in my integration account, they will be, I have my schemas and the references to those schemas. There is a callback URL here. And this callback URL, you have to copy it, and then you have to add it as a environment variable in your Logic app here. That is called workflow integration account callback URL. You create one like this, right? So you do add, and then add the name that I just said, and then the value. You paste the value of the callback URL that you have here. As I mentioned as well, so we have public talks available that you can follow through to implement your HL7 integration. Then when I go back to my my workflow, then I'm going to test this with text plain because it's a flat file, right? And then I'll submit, and then I'll close, and then you will see that in the run history, I have a successful execution, right? So then what happens is that I receive the data, and then it was sent to the code, and the code received this message to the code, this HL7 message to the code, and then it decoded it as XML, right? So I can parse it, I can do anything with this data, right? But what I'm choosing to do now is on the header as well, right? So you have the header. I'm choosing to encode it again, right? So then how do I know if the encode worked again? Because it was successful, the operation was successful. And in here, it's interesting because what I can do as well, so if I wanted to create and manipulate data, right, with the composed XML with the schema, what I can do is I can we can infer what I have integration account here, and then I can load the schema, right? And in this schema, I have to provide. Let me show you this. 45 name, and then I'll pick one. Let's say this one, right? So then it will show all of the pre-populated values that all of the values that I can pre-populate based on the definition that I have in my schema, right? So then I can fill up the information if I want, right? So I can compose this, and then it can generate back XML data, of course, because remember what the outcome that I had here was a flat file, right? So then this is just parsing. This is a compose operation that I have in XML now. So this is it, right? So these are some of the things that you can do. You can decode, you can encode. Remember the steps and test the feature, and let us know. Provide any feedback if you see that anything is not working as expected. Please do let us know. Thank you for your time. Just a call out. You can build healthcare integration solutions with Logic Apps. You can bring your healthcare solutions to Azure Logic Apps, existing ones. You can Logic Apps provides robust support for HL7V 2.x integration. And by following best practices in schema management, error handling, and workflow configuration, organizations can achieve reliable digital health interoperability. Thank you so much for your time, and feel free to reach out to me. You know, this is I'm on X, I'm in LinkedIn, and YouTube as well. Thank you again for your time.